Good morning, Paul and Uday. Today is Friday, October 20th, and here's the heads up brief for today. Today's production to our clients consisted of a total of 67 issues. In East Asia Pacific, we covered 33 issues, in South Asia, 20 issues, and in the EMEA region, 14 issues. I will be briefing you on the major issues of today's production.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
In East Asia Pacific, I'll be covering the top 3 of the 33 issues. In Indonesia, hundreds of students will demonstrate at the Arjuna Wiwaha Horse Statue area in central Jakarta today, with a gathering scheduled to start at 1 p.m. local time. The protest is a response to the Constitutional Court decision against lowering the age requirement for presidential and vice presidential candidates. We conveyed this to our clients in EAP via an advisory message today.
Okay, well, we're well past 1 o'clock now, so apologies for the delay. But yep, carry on.
And also in Indonesia, the Central Java Gerindra Party's Regional Leadership Council has undergone a management restructuring with significant changes in leadership positions over the past few days. Prabowo Subianto is the Gerindra presidential candidate for the election. This restructuring aims to facilitate leadership regeneration and strengthen the party's position as they prepare for the upcoming 2024 presidential election.
Okay, thank you.
In Malaysia, a demonstration will be held in front of the U.S. Embassy in Kuala Lumpur at 2 p.m. local time today. Protesters will gather at the Tun Razak Road and then move towards the embassy building. Also, a pro-Palestine demonstration will be held in front of the Palestine Embassy and outside the National Mosque of Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur. We also conveyed this to our clients in EAP via an advisory message today.
Okay, just for the record, Tun Razak Road is how you pronounce it, mate, okay?
Yes, sure, Paul.
Okay, carry on.
In South Asia, I'll be covering the top 2 issues of the 20 issues. In Pakistan, the Accountability Court of Islamabad has suspended the arrest warrants for former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif in the Tushakhana case until October 24th. Furthermore, the Islamabad High Court granted protective bail to Nawaz Sharif in the Avonfield and Al-Aziziyah references until October 24th.
Thanks,
Okay.
Bassel. That's very...
Yeah, go ahead, Uday.
This is very interesting considering that Imran Khan has been also implicated in this case, but they're allowing the former prime minister to get off charges. So this just shows that the military is prepping for a PMLN government, and Nawaz Sharif may be the next prime minister or a major political player after the elections or during the elections. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
In Bangladesh, Commissioner of the Dhaka Metropolitan Police, Habibur Rahman, stated yesterday that security measures have been tightened across the city ahead of Durga Puja celebrations, which is a Hindu festival celebrated from today until October 24th. Rahman also noted that law enforcement personnel have been deployed across all 248 worship areas in the city. We covered this as the major development in our South Asia roundup today.
Yeah, make sure the team keeps a close eye on this because a couple of years ago there was a lot of violence during Durga Puja because of the religious sentiments. And as we head into the elections next year, this might increase and there could be a possibility of violence. Thanks.
Sure, they will be monitoring this closely. In EMEA, I'll be covering the top 2 issues of the 14 issues. In Europe, at least 65 police officers were injured in clashes with protesters in the capital, Berlin, yesterday. At least 174 people were arrested, including 65 who will be subject to further investigation. The demonstrations were pro-Palestine demonstrations. Also, hundreds of pro-Palestinian supporters mobilized in the capital, Paris, yesterday to denounce Israel's bombardment of the Gaza Strip. The gathering commenced despite the prohibition order issued by Police Prefect Laurent Nunez. We also conveyed this to our clients in EMEA via an advisory message today.
Thanks, Bassel. It's interesting that Western countries are not allowing protests from protests that are in support of Palestine, considering they are so open to freedom of expression. It's ironic in a sense. Thanks.
Also, here's an update on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The Rafah crossing remains closed despite an initial agreement between U.S. President Joe Biden and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to open the crossing for humanitarian aid. U.S. President Biden has compared Hamas to Russia, stating that both represent different threats, but they share a thing in common, and that thing is that they both want to annihilate a neighboring democracy. Also, the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, said the risk of a regional spillover from the Israel-Hamas war is high. The US, UK, and Germany advised their citizens to leave Lebanon amid growing concerns of a wider conflict in the region. Separately, the US Department of State issued a global alert warning its citizens that tensions in the Middle East could increase the potential for violent attacks against Americans. Also, a Pentagon spokesperson said that destroyer USS Carney, which is stationed in the Red Sea, shot down 3 attack cruise missiles and several drones launched from Yemen. We communicated this to our EMEA clients via an advisory message today.
Thanks, Bassel. I saw the alert also. Biden comparing Hamas to Russia, it just shows the US ignorance and arrogance with this whole situation. And it does seem like the conflict in the Middle East could spill over to other parts of the Middle East, especially in Syria and Iraq. So keep an eye out on that to notify clients.
Sure, Dave.
Yes.
We are monitoring this closely.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, look, did they specify where the targets out of Yemen were intended? It looks to me like a media release, some propaganda to make America seem like it's competent and can influence issues in the Middle East. I agree with you, Uday. Biden's brain's obviously going. So whoever's manipulating it is finding it very, very easy to whack notes under his nose, and he just reads them out. I mean, it was absurd. His analysis on the hospital, people have told me, and wasn't fired from Israel. He's only talking to Israelis. He's not even talking with the Arabs who don't want to meet him because clearly they don't think it's going to be a two-way conversation. Talking about peace while deploying 2 aircraft carrier groups. I'm really concerned too today. I think that there's a much greater chance that American involvement is going to escalate it, particularly on a posture coming into an election to try and make Mr. Biden appears somewhat more competent than his current mental state would indicate. So it's a real concern. I want you to monitor that Yemen thing closely next week, see what else comes out of it. There really does seem to be a lot of manipulation of the media, particularly YouTube. They're pumping a lot of propaganda out of it from the West. They're taking a lot of what was pretty clear evidence off YouTube. So it's great concern because YouTube's now starting to lose its any discretion or impartiality it may have had previously seems to be eroding quite quickly. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the brief. Uday, can you hang around? We'll have a quick chat.
Yeah, sure, Paul. Thanks for
Thank you, Paul. That's the heads up brief for today.